Yo, you ever notice that anytime that you open up Instagram or TikTok and consume any type of fashion content that you're bombarded with like the same 2 to 3 outfits? Why the hell does it seem like everyone's dressing the same? It seems like overnight went from skinny jeans assassins to baggy jean bandits. And what's worse is that the way that you dress now, it seems like you have to fit into this very narrow category. Whether it's Gorpcore, the old money aesthetic, or Y3K. And gang, do not get me started on women's fashion. What the f is Tomato Girl Summer? Nowadays, people are dressing based on a checklist given to them by an influencer. And the ironic part is that the influencer in question doesn't even know why they're dressing that way. Developing a fashion sense used to mean going to a thrift shop and finding like a unique piece and having the nuts to wear it. Now it's like, all right, buy whatever's popular so that you could get a few extra likes on IG. And what's so crazy about that is that all the true style icons, whether it's Kanye, Pharrell, A$AP Rocky, Rihanna, they do not follow this copy and paste formula. They've developed personal style. And in this video, I'm going to break down the philosophy behind building your personal style and show you how to build your personal style in 3 easy steps. So let's get it. Step 1, bro, who are you? The statement that every black kid entering a frat party dreads hearing. But deadass, like, who are you? You have to do some real inventory on yourself. Like, what are your interests? What are your values and morals? What feelings and thoughts do you want people to leave once they've interacted with you? It's only once that you have this strong sense of self internally that your external shell will match. And by answering these very fundamental questions, you essentially create a brand for yourself. A simple way for me to explain this is by using fashion creative directors. Let's take Denma of Balenciaga, Tom Brown of Tom Brown, and Virgil at Louis Vuitton, RIP. You could never get these 3 brands confused. Like, you could never get the referential work of Balenciaga confused with the tailoring and the color blocking of Tom Brown. And Tom Brown could never be confused for the streetwear aesthetic of Virgil era Louis Vuitton. And the reason for that is that these designers have created a design language, a vision for the brand. You need to create this vision for yourself. Now, the hard part about that is that most people have no real idea who they are. Most people don't even know why they like the things that they like. For example, you ever had that friend where you're in the whip and you're playing them a song and they're like, yo, son, like, this song is trash. But then 2-3 weeks later, the song goes viral and it's all over TikTok. All of a sudden, your friend is the biggest fan of that song. You can call it the bandwagon effect or the mere exposure effect. But at the end of the day, a lot of what we like is influenced by others. And by recognizing that simple characteristic about human nature, you can truly find out what you like. An example of a bandwagoner in terms of style is Kai Cenat. Now, before you get on my ass, I think Kai Cenat is cool. I think what he's doing in the streaming industry is literally genius, but this is fashion we're talking about. Now, if you take a look at Kai's old style, I mean, it's nothing to write home about. He looks like any young kid from any city that likes rap music. I mean, look right here. We have the super tight Amiri jeans, the Jordans, insert expensive sweater. This style can be seen on a plethora of different rappers. If I closed my eyes and threw a dart on the board with probably 100 current rappers, there's a 99% chance that someone has this outfit on. But around 2023, you started to see a shift in Kai's style. Kai started to dress more on the high-end streetwear tip. He all of a sudden became a fan of Capital, Old Bape, and baggy jeans. And you can obviously see the influence of his friends, right? Like Lil Yachty. Now, to be fair, Kai is young and he's rich. He's in his early 20s. And that's fine. Like, this is the time that in your early 20s that you're supposed to be finding yourself and finding your personal style. And if I'm being honest, I actually like the way that he's dressing now. But I wouldn't consider this someone with great personal style. He's just copying what he sees that's trending on the internet. Now, someone who's the exact opposite of this is Bloody Osiris. Bloody Osiris is one of the most influential figures in men's style. He's collaborated with the likes of Virgil, Travis Scott, Matthew Williams, and Jerry Lorenzo, just to name a few. Bloody Osiris' style exemplifies drawing inspiration from your surroundings. Bloody Osiris grew up in Harlem in the early 2000s, and you can see how his neighborhood and the people that he grew up around influenced his style. The silhouettes that were prominent during that era play as like a blueprint for Bloody O. But what makes his style truly unique is how he mixes these staples, like mixing baggy jeans and Timbs with avant-garde Rick Owens pieces. He's a master of mixing high and low fashion. And the most important part is that he was doing this before this became popular. He did this when the majority of people were not dressing like that. And not to glaze, to be from the hood and to dress like that takes a lot of confidence. Confidence is key in being yourself, which is a great transition to step 2. Step 2, use trends cautiously. When to use trends and when not to use trends. That is the question. Now, this is an attempt to dunk on you if you engage in trends, because in reality, every single one of us engages in trends. Whether it's going to a new trendy restaurant, listening to a new trendy musician, or using new slang, humans are inherently social creatures, and we tend to conform to group behaviors, especially when we see others engaging in trends. Now, on the flip side, while conforming to social norms is inherently human, an impulse that every single one of us has deep inside is to achieve greatness. There is a need and a want for each and every one of us to reach our highest potential. But in reality, only a few of us do. Humans shy away from greatness. And it's such a weird paradox. Why do we have these feelings of wanting to strive for greatness, but simultaneously run away from opportunities that may allow us to be great? And the reason for that is that humans have a primal fear of being isolated. But unfortunately, in order to become great, you sometimes have to isolate yourself from the herd. The more unique you become, you lose protection from the crowd. To quote Abraham Maslow, we are generally afraid to become that which we can glimpse with our most perfect moments. We enjoy and even thrill to the godlike possibilities we see in ourselves. And yet, we simultaneously shiver with weakness, awe, and fear before these very same possibilities. It's that fear that stops people from taking on a new job, moving to a new city, or dressing differently. Don't allow your fear of isolation to stop you from finding greatness with your personal style. Now, I think there's like a masterful way to use trends and incorporate current trends into your personal style. However, this comes after years and years of experimentation. It's the same way that an old artist may use different tools or mediums to create their art, but their artistry is still them. You could still see their art style within that new medium. And the same can be done with style. Now, this is my personal tip when it comes to buying a trendy item. You have to ask yourself, how many wears do you expect to get out of this piece? And two is, does this clothing item make sense in my current wardrobe? Those two questions have saved me hundreds and thousands of dollars from buying nonsense. An example of this was the Balenciaga Triple S sneaker. This shoe came at the height of the ugly dad shoe crave and was the chunkiest, ugliest, and most expensive shoe on the market, and I wanted it. But I'm gonna keep it a bean. At the time, I couldn't afford the sneaker when Balenciaga first dropped it. But after a few restocks, I saved enough money to buy a pair. But then I found myself not really liking the sneaker anymore. Was it the hipster in me? Probably. Was I turned off because I started seeing the sneaker everywhere on social media? Probably. Maybe it was the high sticker price. I mean, $900 was and still is an insane price for a pair of sneakers. But the underlying factor was the sneaker just wasn't for me. If I were to actually have bought that shoe, I would have worn it for maybe like 6 months and then got lowballed for it on Grailed. The shoe did not fit my personal style. But because I was caught up in the hype, I almost made a bad financial decision. So beware of micro trends. Step 3 may be a little controversial, but it's study other fashionable people. Taking inspiration from other people never ends in your style journey. The reason why human beings were able to harness the power of the earth is due to our cumulative culture. We build upon the knowledge of previous generations. Like, what did Shorty say? Something about a coconut and a tree and in context. Now, while it's okay that you take inspiration, be careful of biting. There is nothing wrong with taking inspiration from someone that you deem to be fashionable, but my leg should be avoided at all costs. An example of that is Kanye West fans. Despite all of the deplorable things that Kanye West has said and done, he is still one of the most influential people in fashion. And with that influence, whenever he pops out with a certain aesthetic, his fans just copy him. Like word for word, bar for bar. That's not fly. That's riding. Now, this is how you take inspiration, right? Like, for example, like, let's see that you liked a shoe that Kanye wore and you wanted to incorporate that shoe into your own style. Or maybe you're really into like a certain color palette that he used during a certain era and you wanted to find a similar way to incorporate that into your clothing. That's cool, but never go full Yeezyfication. And yes, it's whack and corny, but the true crime of it all is that it robs you of the possibility of finding your own personal style, finding something that's unique to yourself and something that you truly love. Kanye looks good in his clothes because one, he has just great taste, but it's the bravado that comes with it. You aren't Kanye West, so you shouldn't try to copy and be just like him. What you should do is study the game. If you're a fan of Kanye, you should learn about his style history. And then from there, you might learn about Nigo. And after you learn about Nigo, you may become interested in Japanese streetwear. And from there, you learn about other Japanese brands, maybe like Comme des Garçons. Or maybe you go a different route and you become interested in the likes of like Dapper Dan and what made his clothing so unique for the time. The purpose of this is to expose yourself to different aesthetics. And once you find those aesthetics, don't be afraid to try it. Maybe you're truly into classic Americana, or maybe you're into the unconventional cuts of Yohji Yamamoto, or maybe you're really into booty shorts. I don't know. This isn't like a simple TikTok tutorial where I'm gonna tell you to go to this store and buy this shoe, this pants, and these glasses, put an outfit together. That's not what personal style is. You have to live in these experiences. You have to go and do the research. You have to experience. This is a journey that you have to take on your own. But I'm honestly excited to see where you end up. If you enjoyed the video, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you're tired of all the corny, whack shit that's been going on social media, I think that I am a slight diversion from that. On this channel, I'm gonna continue to try to do more deep dives and really talk about the things that we love as a culture, like on a granular level. So let's run it up. Bless up.